Welcome to the Heart of Real Estate podcast with Mike McFarland and Steven Salinas with the Mortgage Mike Group. On the podcast, Mike and Steven discuss what top producing real estate agents, what makes them successful, unique, and purpose-filled. Each episode holds a key to unlocking a door to financial freedom.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of the Heart of Real Estate podcast. I am Mike McFarland and one of the hosts. I'm missing a host. Usually I'd have somebody sitting right here next to me, Cindy. Steven Salinas is out today because he and his wife went to the doctor. They're pregnant and they said, I think you need to stay. So I'm missing a wingman today. So it's going to be just you and me, Cindy. And I have a great guest today. I have a fantastic guest today on the Heart of Real Estate podcast with Cindy Boutwell with Boutwell Properties, the owner of Boutwell Properties and the lead of the Boutwell team. So Cindy, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited for Steven too, for his baby coming. That's exciting news.
It's been a while, so
Yeah,
we know it. So today is the day. So lots of people are really excited. I think I'm a little nervous just because I realize I get to run on my own for a couple of weeks, but I think I'll figure it out. So, so Cindy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey into real estate, give us some background.
Well, I started real estate a little over 20 years ago.
Okay.
I got into real estate to divorce my ex-husband.
Okay.
And I did within a few months after getting real estate. That's what we did. I actually started with Remax when I first started. And back then that was uncalled, typically new agents never started there.
Right.
But I was able to start there. And within about a year and a half, after I divorced Max, I bought half the office.
Right.
And there was a need for it. So my first 6 months I did 35,000. At the time, I didn't think that was very good, but my broker had come to me and said, you were doing really well. So that was back then, that was really well. And it just kind of grew. We did open houses. We did all kinds of stuff to make it work.
Yeah.
I picked out what price point was the kind of price point I was comfortable selling.
Yeah.
And picked areas.
Yeah.
And I ended up meeting my current husband, which I've been with for a long time. And we kind of picked up neighborhoods, and that was what we focused on, certain specific areas, and we just really kind of honed into the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And that's what we did.
Yeah. When we've met before, Cindy, I'd mentioned to you that when I think about you, I think about community.
Yeah.
Right. I think community is a big part of who you are and what you do. I think about events, and then I think of branding. Those are the three things that just really clearly show up in what it is that makes you who you are in the marketplace. Can you share with us, because you talked about, I think I'm hearing the community part where you just started to target communities in the early stages of your career. What did that look like? And then tell us about what that looks like today.
Well, it first looked like we started marketing to specific neighborhoods to get listings. And once we started getting listings there, we just got to know everybody. And we lived in the area we were marketing to, which was helpful. But we got involved in the schools, and we got involved. We started doing well, and we started doing a college scholarship fund. And then we just noticed there was, not a lot of people were doing things, and it just made most sense. I grew up in a family that volunteered and did things, and I wanted my kids to see that. And so we started actually at Hamilton Elementary. We did a great pumpkin contest.
Okay.
And it was a math contest for this giant pumpkin. And then it's kind of morphed into like 10, 12 schools now that we do these giant pumpkins for.
And this is Guess the Weight of the giant
Guess
pumpkin.
the weight. Yeah.
Okay.
Guess the
Got
weight.
it.
Guess the weight, and we have it as guess the weight, and we have a math contest that goes with each pumpkin for each weight, and they have to guess pound to ounce, and then they win it.
Wow.
And each school does it differently. There's some schools that have done fundraisers for it. It's just different things. But the school, when we call them every year, hey, you still want the pumpkins? We still call and ask, and every one of them is like, yes, we do.
Yeah.
And so that's been a lot of fun. The kids remember us from that. The parents, unfortunately, sometimes the parents that get those big 100-pound pumpkins are like, great.
Right. What do I do with this?
And then we did college scholarship was one of the things we wanted to do. And we based it not on just grades. We wanted to base it on being active in the community.
Okay.
And so for kids that were actually active in the community that did stuff, were kind of the ones we wanted. It didn't have to be like the smartest of the smart, the brightest of the bright. It ended up being both. But that was one of the big things for us, was just trying to give back and help.
Great.
And so we do that.
Well, and taking a child that is not so heavily academic focus, like spread, like but balanced,
Yes,
right? A
very
balanced
balanced.
child,
Yes,
right? That knows the value of being a part of and contributing into something, right?
right.
Instead of just, okay, I'm really good at academics, but there's nothing else that can be offered in that
Right.
arena, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tell us, so I know you're super active in your community and
Correct.
there's some things that you support and believe in. Tell us about that.
Well, we've got several things. During COVID, we saw a huge need with Cypher Helping Hands.
Okay.
It's a organization that feeds the hungry and the homeless in Cypher. And we got involved with them. They had a lot of seniors that were helping them, and they really couldn't during COVID. And so our team, we stepped up and we worked the food pantry. On weekends, we'd hand out food to the people that had come through. We helped with the homeless a little bit. They when we had that massive freeze,
Yeah.
we helped do sandwiches and help just kind of get things ready.
Yeah.
We ended up donating $10,000 to them. I guess 2020, the end of 2021.
Okay.
As just a thank you for everything that you do.
Wow.
We did cereal drives. We did kind of all kinds of stuff. We
Mhm.
got to learn more about like families that don't have food, like
Yeah.
what they have accessible to them, which is not a lot.
Mhm.
And so you think about your kids of what they eat every day, they're probably not going to eat
Yeah.
what they're given. They would have a tough time because the
Right.
food that they were given was just kind of what's available. And
Right.
so the cereal drive was kind of a cool thing.
Wow.
And then I'm actually on the board with Family Ties,
Hmm.
which is an organization that is helping children that have been abused and also younger adults that have been kind of brought into the sex trade industry. So we're
Wow.
building a building called the Mueller House, which will help house them.
Great. So where does this come from? You have a real heart for giving,
Right.
right? So what does that come from?
I think from my parents, really. My mom was a Girl Scout leader.
Mhm.
My dad was super active with our Girl Scout troop, with the Boy Scout troop, and just active in the community. We always went to. My dad was part of a Knights of Columbus, which was part of our church at the time, and they always just did stuff.
Yeah.
And for me, I want my kids to grow up leaving this place to see me, giving back to the community
Right.
and becoming good people. Because with our industry, it's so tainted sometimes, but people think real estate
Mhm.
agents are these horrible people that they go out and drink and party and they spend
Yeah.
all kinds of money and have wild parties, and that's not who we are at all.
No.
And so it's not that. And for us to be able to give back to the community and help, that's important. I
Yeah.
mean, one of the things during COVID we did, I was unable to see my grandson in Austin because of COVID, and we had an Easter bunny costume, and it was
Mhm.
like Easter is kind of when it all hit. And so we did the Easter bunny drive around. And so we advertised it to communities. We had an app that followed us throughout the community,
Yeah.
and families walked outside. Like when we would turn down their street, they would come outside and
Yeah.
we would take pictures with them. Now
Right.
we did thousands of pictures with them.
Right.
And what was super cool, we had a newscaster from Channel 2 that saw us, and she came and did an interview with me. And I was dressed up as a bunny, but we had other people talking. And she was our very first college scholarship recipient. I totally forgot that
Wow.
we had done that. And she's with Channel 2 at the time. And we still follow her. She's not here in Houston anymore, but she's at another network. And it's pretty cool to watch.
Wow. Wow. That's to have, oh my goodness, to directly experience your giving into the community, right? You get the newscaster that comes back, right? And then I'm sure like she's like, oh my gosh, they helped me,
Yeah.
right? And to see that come full circle
Yeah.
is what a gift.
It was very cool. I mean, and that was the Easter bunny drive around and meeting, talking to her was kind of like a surreal moment for us.
Yeah.
And for my team, they kind of like seeing all those families walk out of their houses and like full families, like teenagers and kids and parents,
Yeah.
both parents walking out. That was it was kind of life changing.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, you really are big into creating community is what I see. Not that you're just um you are involved with, you
Hmm.
plug into, and through your company and your team, you create community with your clients around you. I know you have some anchored events like I know, well, the Easter Bunny kind of came along, but there's
Yeah.
some other things that you do as well. Could you share with us just some of those events that are just part of who you are and what you do?
We do. We have we got a couple of them. So we just finished for Christmas. We did Christmas pictures with Santa at our office at our property and for our customers. And their families or pets could all come out and we scheduled them and did holiday pictures. And we had our professional photographer take them.
Right.
And then they got them, of course we pay for everything. We do a turkey fry every year. So we have our customers come over, bring the turkeys, and we do the turkey fry. I think we did a lot of turkeys, like 40 something turkeys. This year was a lot.
And this is like the Wednesday before
Thanksgiving,
right?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And then we have a lot of food, and it's a lot of fun. And this year we did t-shirts for everybody that had our little stuff on it. And we've just kind of done a bunch. We have a vendor event that we do every year, every summer for our like any vendor that we work with that we really truly love. We'll have lenders, we'll have our cleaning people, anybody that we like. We invite their families to come out and we celebrate them. That's and because they make us look good, and that's important.
Wow. So do you sleep?
No.
Okay. Because I'm thinking all of these great ideas need to be put into place, right? And then a lot of things have to happen to make that happen. Okay. So you don't sleep. That's great. And I know one of the other things we talked about too is the umbrellas. Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Those. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about the umbrella piece. And then, cause I want to get into the branding part of what.
Okay. Yeah. We do a lot of branding.
Oh yeah.
So every year we do something for a teacher starting school. Cause I know it's hard. I've got teachers and several of my kids are teachers. And I know the beginning of the school year is tough. And, they always get snacks and different food brought to them. We want to do something that would kind of help them throughout the year. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of teachers have to do school lineup. So when the kids go, get off the bus or their parents pick them up, they line up. Well, sometimes it's raining. Right. And so we're trying to think of something cool to do. And we're like, we can do umbrellas. And so we did umbrellas.
Right.
And so that was one thing. So all of the different schools we do pumpkins with, we donated lots of umbrellas for them.
Right. So you got your umbrellas at the schools, right? So probably a lot of umbrellas that are sitting ready for whenever the rain comes, right?
Yes.
For all the children and the teachers.
And they're the bigger umbrellas. So like when teachers are walking the kids to the car and putting them in, no one's getting wet.
And you're putting yourself in front of the majority of your client base anyway, right? Or opportunity to develop relationships with new people as well. I know you're really, I love your brand. You have a red cardinal.
We do.
Right. Yeah. So tell us the story of the cardinal, because I know in today's world, right? Fast forward from when you started with it to where you are today and your branding, the cardinal shows up in all sorts of places.
Everything.
Now, right?
Yes. Everything we do.
Yeah. So tell us about the cardinal and the significance to you.
Well, I had been, like I mentioned, Remax. I was with them for a long time, and it just became no longer a fit. And we're trying to think of, we were doing trainings and everything for everybody else. And we decided, this is silly. We're going to do our own. So we sat down and took about 6 months to come up with what we wanted to do. And one of the things one of the reasons I got into real estate, other than divorcing my ex, was I promised my dad, who was dying, I took care of him, that I would become successful. Yeah. And I would become a realtor. So for him, like when he passed, every time I saw a cardinal, I always said, hey Dad, how are you doing? That's for a lot of people that are spiritual. They think cardinals are from, death of a loved one or a loved one coming to visit. And so I thought I gotta have a cardinal somehow in this. And so we just we came up. So our signs now, on the top of our sign, we have fabricated a metal red cardinal. Okay. And so that's on every one of our signs. Right. And then it's on our logo. And then we're trying to think of, what else can we do? And so we found these big cardinals. Yeah. They're metal, and we have them. We custom painted them, but we put them in all of our listings. Right. And so the first one was a single guy that I've known forever, and I listed his house, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna stick this cardinal in your house. And he's like, you're such a dork. I'm like, I know, but we're gonna do it anyway. Yeah, right. And then it just kind of went from there. And I'm like, we're gonna have this cardinal in all of our pictures. Right. And then we thought, well, what's a cardinal's name gonna be? We got to come up with a name.
I was gonna say.
Yes. And so we did like an Instagram contest, and we named him, and his name ended up being Ready. So his name is Ready.
Ready.
Anyone who's on my team has their very own Ready. Right. And so a lot of them do social media stuff with them. Yeah. And it's just been kind of fun. Yeah. And our clients love them. Yeah. And so, but he's on kind of everything we do.
I love it. I'm going to take us back a little bit, because you had mentioned with your father passing away, and you're taking care of him through that transition, that process, that you told him, you would be, you're going to be successful.
Right.
What was that space in you that you needed to let him know, that, and then how did that then translate? What was that motivation that took you through when you started, right? And then 6 months later, they're like, hey, buy the office from us, right?
Um, for me, my dad, I mean, I was a mom for many years.
Okay.
And I worked several little small jobs, but I was married and I was unhappy, and I didn't want to be dependent. And I
Yeah.
didn't want my kids thinking it was okay to be dependent on someone you didn't care for.
Yeah.
And so for my dad, he always worried about me. Like, are you going to be okay? Like most dads,
Right.
doesn't matter, where you're at in life, they're still worried about you.
Right.
And with my dad, I told him, I promise you, I'm going to be, whatever I do, I'm going to leave, and
Yeah.
I will be successful. And so
Right.
you have to have that mindset to become successful. You
Mhm.
have to have that mindset. You can't, I'm going to do this and hopefully I make it.
Right.
It's like, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. And I had 3 kids. I had one
Right.
in high school, one in middle school, one just starting kindergarten.
Goodness
And so it's
gracious.
kind of one of those things like, you got to do this.
Wow.
And so that was my mindset of, you're going to do this. And,
Yeah.
and that's what I did.
Okay. Yeah. You didn't have a choice.
No.
Right. I would think I'm sure circumstances were like, we need to leave this space. And then, going to, all right, wow, I'm going to be a real estate agent. And yeah, just starting from that space and in 6 months. So the motivation drove you, right?
Mhm.
Clearly you can see the need to take care of your family as a huge
Right.
driver, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that means like, I'll do anything. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to make it happen.
Correct.
Did you have any mentors along the way? Like anybody that came alongside you that was able to mentor you through that?
Not really, not a lot. I had
Okay.
people in the office that I attached myself to.
Okay.
That was pretty, there were some people in my office because back then they didn't really help you a whole lot. There was not training.
Right.
And, we didn't have the internet,
Mhm.
very, very little internet. It had some, but very little, and definitely didn't have social media.
Yeah.
And so, I just watched. I mean, I kind of watched and I observed. And I had a guy in my office. His name was Aaron Flippin. He was just extremely smart, and he's actually in our company now. He's a broker at a company,
That's great.
which was just huge to me. And I had a couple different people that were mentors to me that
Mhm.
I could ask questions to. And I just kind of watched and learned, and
Yeah.
I kind of figured out what price point I wanted to be in that would be successful for my family.
Yeah.
And I kind of just went that route.
Yeah. You're a thinker. I think you're thinking a lot. You're always thinking.
Always.
Yeah. And ideas are coming up. And I think beyond that, what I've also noticed with you is that you're an implementer. You're
Yes.
really fast to implement. Where does that come from for you?
I think it's just a necessity.
Okay.
And for me, my mind is always going,
Yeah.
and I write everything down. Like when I left Remax, I had I need to have certain people in place,
Right.
and one was a marketing person. And so, because most companies don't have a individual that have a direct marketing person. All they do is marketing, and that's what I have. So
Yeah.
I have my admin, my office manager, and a marketing person.
Okay.
And so, because my mind does this all the time,
Right.
she's just like, stop. I write everything down,
Right.
and then we kind of go over the list of this is what I want to do, and they take care of it. But
Great.
that's what I liked about leaving my old company to now. Like, I wanted to put Ready into something,
Right.
and I couldn't have done
You
that.
can compete with the balloon.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, we beat the balloon because the Cardinal's cuter.
Right.
But Cardinal can pop that balloon.
Right.
But I can change it like this. If I want to make
Mhm.
a change, I don't have to go to a corporate company to ask a question. I'm just I ask myself, do you want to do this? And it's yes.
Yeah.
And then I usually will run things, by my team
Right.
and my husband, of course. But it's just done. It's done right then.
Yeah. That's so when you look back, 'cause how long have you been on your own now?
We started the December before COVID hit.
Wow.
Is when we opened. It was December. It was December, I think, 2nd before.
December before the COVID. Oh,
Right,
wow.
right before it hit.
Okay.
Is when we started.
So there's a little bit of a panic moment in that March, April transition when the phone stopped ringing because nobody knew what to do. And
We
then
had about a week.
okay.
We had a week when everyone was like, I don't know what to do. We're shutting down.
Right.
And so I sent my team home, and then it was about a week, and I'm like, and we're done, get back.
Right.
And so because to me, I'm an independent contractor,
Mhm.
and I'm really not going to shut down.
Yeah.
And we were deemed necessary. And so
Yes.
yes,
Right.
absolutely. So I'm a big proponent of, I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Yeah.
because it's necessary.
Mhm.
And like when HAR wouldn't allow us to do open houses, or they took our ability to do that away because they took the ability to post them away. I'm like, I'm going to go on social media. I'm gonna do open
Right.
houses, and we did open houses,
Right.
and people came,
Right.
and so it was
Yeah.
successful.
Homes had to be sold.
Yeah,
People needed to buy, sell. Like real estate happens regardless of what
right.
is going on around us, right? I mean,
Yeah,
life circumstances force a move, and well, okay, we got to change homes because of that.
right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Was there ever a point where you just felt like, "Ah, I don't know if I can do this,"
No.
or no? Wow. Okay. Um, so for you, it was clearly just like we're burning the ships. There's no going back at all.
No, yeah.
Right. And
No, we went from making like 19, 20,000 to we did over 43 million.
goodness
So yeah,
gracious.
we went, I mean, it was like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, and some of it was COVID,
Yeah.
all that madness too. But I mean, we didn't change. We
Mhm.
didn't hide from
Yeah.
COVID. We just worked,
Wow.
and we stayed in contact with our customers.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing.
Well, I think I'm going to go beyond state in contact. You create community and you invite them in.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what you're really great at. So even the idea of because the Easter Bunny driving around in a car that you guys on what's the right word for this?
It's 60. Well, we had two. We have a
Okay.
64 and a half Mustang convertible.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we have a 72 Cutlass convertible.
Okay.
And so initially we were going to share whoever wears the bunny costume.
Right.
And then I wore it the first day, and I was like, yeah, this is gross.
You don't
No
want
one
to
else
be
to
in
wear
this.
it. I'll wear it. And so I wore it, and I sat in
Yeah.
the back, and I was like, this really hurts your butt sitting on the
Right.
back of those cars. And then we had one time when our Mustang kind of blew a gasket or something, and we were in Longwood, and one of our customers lived there, and we were like texting, can you come get us? Because I couldn't get
Yeah.
out of character.
Right.
And so she had a convertible, and she drove us around. It was hysterical. And so one of our customers drove us around, drove me
Oh
around.
my gosh, that is so
Because we had a
beautiful.
schedule, people were coming,
Right.
and she thought it was hysterical, and
Right.
so it was a lot of
Right.
fun.
Gosh, you're so connected, Cindy. I mean, I think that's it. You're just woven to the fabric of the community that's around you. And yeah, people just know that they can trust you.
Yeah.
That when they come to you, you've got it, right?
Well, we try keeping people like even like during the big freeze we had, I had elderly customers that couldn't get out.
Yeah.
And I would contact them. Do you need anything? Do you have anything? And I mean, like one of them needed milk, and no one had milk at that
Yeah.
time. But I was like, I bet Dunkin' Donuts does, and they did. And so I went to Dunkin' Donuts and got milk and brought them milk. And it was just kind of different things we came up with that you've always kind of like got to be thinking.
Yeah, you're always thinking, Cindy. I know that. So that's great. Wow. If within Boutwell Properties, you got a new agent coming on board.
Mhm.
What kind of wisdom, like what 2 or 3 things would you tell them? Hey, as you're starting out, you need to do these things.
And we typically only take new agents,
Right.
typically.
Okay.
And so like we just hired our summer intern. We have an intern every year that comes in, and
Okay.
we hired this one. And before he can do really anything, he trains with us. And so
Okay.
this particular one, we show them how to do open houses. They work with me, they work with my husband, they work with one of our team members.
Yeah.
We help them how to talk to customers, like what questions to ask.
Mhm.
And make sure they understand how to write a contract. If they need help, I mean, I'm available 24/7. I mean, someone can text me at midnight, and I'm probably going to respond.
Yeah.
That's my whole not sleeping thing.
Right. That's what I'm saying, because you don't sleep.
But it's for new agents, it's helpful because like we didn't have that. Like when I first started, if I had a listing, I created my own flyers, I took my own pictures,
Yeah.
and we have all that stuff in place.
Yeah.
And so that we've got that for them.
Why new agents versus experienced?
We had experienced agent come on that had been and just very bad. I guess there's some they didn't have bad habits, I guess is the best way to put it. They had bad
Right.
habits.
Right.
And I want to create new habits for everybody so they
Right.
don't get into the whole bad habit situation.
Right.
Or, like there's agents, like when I used to teach how to do open houses at my own company, the agents would come in and they were like, well, they don't work. I'm like, okay, they didn't work for you because what were you doing wrong?
Right.
They work for us, clearly. And so it's the bad habits thing. And so, I mean, I have taken some agents on that have been like a year or two in, But I prefer to teach them contracts so they really, really understand contracts. Because
Right.
you can go to real estate school and you really don't know a whole lot.
Yeah.
And
Application.
you just kind of get through, you pass the test, and that's it. And we kind of want them to know everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love that you craft them in the style that you want them, right?
Right.
So you give them the good habits, and then you're able to mentor them along in that process.
Mhm.
Yeah. What about so let's say as they start, like from that foundation, what are the next things that you would tell them to do? Like, how do you encourage them to go out and develop their own business? What are those skills or techniques that you
Well,
want them to work
every
on?
year we create business plan. We have business plans. So
Okay.
each agent has their own business plan.
Okay.
And their business plan is their business plan. Like, I don't say you have to make so many closings per month. Our team's a little bit different than other teams. Like, they don't have to do like 2 and 3, 4, or 5 closings a month.
Right.
It's their business. And so if they want to make, let's say 100,000, that's very easy to be done.
Mhm.
But we create how to do it.
Right.
So you can't just say, I want to make 100,000 and then hopefully it happens.
Right.
And so we create, how to do that. And so every year, like the ones that have been with us long, for a while, I mean, that 100,000 is off the table. They're going to a higher number.
Right.
And then how do you get to that with,
Right.
Doing what type, how many closings and stuff. And so we kind of just work with them on that.
Yeah. Do you, so with the scope of community that you create, the events, right? Are your agents invited to bring their
Yeah.
their clientele as well?
Yeah.
So
We're a team. So everything we
right,
do is a team.
everything. Okay.
Everything we do is a team. Yeah.
So what I love about that is, gosh, I'm like, so love what you're doing. One, you're bringing people in to teach them in a way that works,
Yeah.
right, without bringing in the bad habits. But you're also giving them access to like the power of your marketing, the power of your connection, the power of your community that allows them to just plug and play.
Yeah.
They don't have to think, like they don't have to go out and create what you've created, Cindy, because it's already built.
Right.
You just have to plug in. What a great resource.
I mean, my marketing person that I pay is my team's marketing person. So if
Yeah.
they want to go do a video somewhere,
Got
you just
it.
got to call her.
Got
And
it.
she'll come out and do it.
Got it.
And she does lots of reels. And so
Yes, she does.
she's we're all like, oh my gosh, what's she doing?
She
She
does.
does.
She does.
It's like, oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah, she's crazy down, but she's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my marketing person is for my team. So right now our company is just team based. Everyone
Okay.
and that's in my company is on my team.
Okay. Everybody's on your team.
Is on my team.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And
Okay.
so they all get the same benefits as I do.
Yeah.
They get their flyers made, they get marketing done. If they need help writing a contract, my office manager can do it pretty quickly. If they're
Great.
out on the road, need it done,
Right.
we can do that.
Great. So you let your agents be salespeople,
Mhm.
right? And then put the resources around them to facilitate a transaction, assist with marketing, right? Wow.
Whatever they want. But they're the ones but they will be the ones that negotiate and do inspection and all that kind of stuff.
Right. For sure.
I want
That's their
them, because there's other
expertise.
teams that do things differently. They have one person that does showings and one person does something else. For me, I love those kind of teams because we can be manipulative to them.
Right.
For us, I want my agents to know the entire transaction, what's going on.
Right.
And so that their customer knows that they're handling it.
Yeah.
And they may meet us too.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do that.
That's so true, Cindy, because when you divide those two,
Mhm.
you end up getting, you don't have a balanced agent.
Right.
Right.
And that agent that's negotiating a property may have never seen it before.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah. Super insightful.
Mhm.
Wow. Wow. Okay. That's a lot, Cindy. That's a lot. Is there anything else that before we just wrap things up, is there anything you would any wisdom to impart?
Just being honest and surround yourself with people that know and love you,
Yeah.
that want you to do well,
Yeah.
that will put your name out there, that believe enough in you that
Mhm.
they'll say your name.
Right.
And that's the most important thing, I
Right.
think.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to put around that care for them. You're really good about caring for people, caring for your community. Yeah, I have no doubt that your clients know your heart really well. And that's such an honor to have you on the Heart of Real Estate podcast. And
Well, thank you so much for having us.
thanks for sharing your story, your ideas with us here today. Truly amazing, Cindy.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Heart of Real Estate podcast. If you found this episode thought-provoking and helpful, do us a favor and share it with 2 of your friends. Also, feel free to leave any comments or reviews. And if you want to learn more about the Mortgage Mike Group, reach out. We'd love to connect.